All right, good afternoon. This is your host of the day, Kate Archibald, and super excited about today's topic. I think this is one that can apply to everyone in your art of influence. So, before we dive into the topic today, we're going to cover some announcements.
Session 4, so December 3rd and 4th in Salt Lake City, Utah. We'll be hosting it at our Patient and Education Center at the clinic, so it's pretty exciting. We're going to change the venue, change the energy. We've got a whole bunch of exciting stuff coming on just entrepreneurial mindsets, functional blood chemistry, marketing, mastering your ROF, breakthrough peptides, new peptides. We'll be talking psilocybin, groovy stuff, melatonin, testosterone. I mean, we just got a mega lineup of education happening, a really good lineup of business and practice development happening. So don't miss it. You have to be accountable for your growth for the upcoming year and for what's to come. And we want to teach you the best of the best and provide the best environment for you to learn. And so get your butts in those seats.
And so today our topic is on
It's avoiding the curiosity. It's creating curiosity and avoiding the think about it trap.
Think about it. Yes.
Yep.
We're avoiding the think about it in your ROF. So really creating clarity for your new patients and creating a really good ROF process. So yeah, let's dive in here.
Okay, well, so how many of you would say that you are black belts at your ROFs, at your report of findings? And I know Dan is, Cade's a black belt, and several of you are on here are, but even as a black belt, one of the worst experiences to have is when somebody says, you know, this has been really great. I really appreciate all the value you've given to me. Man, I feel so much clearer about my health. But before I get started, I just need to think about it. And it's kind of a low blow because you realize in that moment that your communication was not as clean as it could have been. And so if we think about life, you know, life in general is all about making decisions. And sometimes those decisions, when we put off important decisions, we miss out on big things. Yeah, I remember last year, I was really looking forward to going to this event. And as the date got closer, I kept telling myself, okay, now I'm going to register. Now I'm going to register. And I had the cart open on my computer. And all I needed to do is click the little link. And then Dan or Kate, I don't know if you guys have ever done that. And then I totally forgot. And then I came back to click the link and the event was sold out. So I couldn't get in.
That's happened to me plenty of times. It's usually because I don't have my credit card with me right at that moment. Like, oh, I got to do that, and then you forget about it, and then another email pops up, and it's like, oh, I got to sign up for this. Where's my card? Oh, it's in my truck. I'll do it later.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't populate right, like your card expires.
Yeah.
And you're like, no.
I remember the security code.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, you know, I think one of the biggest gifts you can give your prospects and people who really want to work with you, you know, is just remove every objection before you ever would get to, I want to think about it. And so if you feel like this will be valuable to your practice and something, you know, even valuable as a communicator, you know, the biggest thing that we can do as humans is we can influence people to make decisions that are really good for their future. And it's not always easy to do because people want the certainty before they're willing to make a decision. And so your job is the more certainty you can transfer in your report of findings, the much easier time you're going to have. So there's some things in this whole process. You know, if you want to avoid the think about it trap, you know, the very first thing that you want to realize is people are going to spend money on things that they value. And it's not necessarily that they need more time to decide. They just need more value in place. And sometimes there's different leverage points that you can utilize to help them decide and say, why would I even go look around anymore? Or what is it that I have to think about? And so, you know, if you can be really amazing at this one tool, this will transform your practice faster than almost anything. So Kate and Dan, let's talk about some reasons why people have to think about it. So think about if you have non-confident body language. What does non-confident body language portray to people?
Lack of confidence and certainty.
So if you're like this, that person, they're going to need a, what's the think about it usually mean?
I don't trust you. I don't think you know what you're talking about. I still don't know if you can help me. It could be, yeah, those are the primary ones that I can think of.
Yeah. Uncertainty or dishonesty. It's hard to read, why is this person coming across this way? Are they unsure? Are they trying to pull one over on me? Those are, it's just really uncomfortable, right?
Yeah. Well, and you can feel, I think you nailed it, Dan, is it triggers the amygdala, right? So our whole job in the report of findings is you want people to feel super comfortable. This is an intimate relationship. It's not like they're coming in to go, and buy a movie ticket. I mean, they're like really investing their health, and they're trusting that you are somebody who can help them get where they want to go. And so poor body language. The other thing that's going to give you more, I need to think about it, is when you minimize care and reduce program recommendations. So when you get to the end of your program and someone says, I need to think about it, it's probably because as you've gone through your recommendations, you didn't give them 2 options, or you gave them too many options. If you only give them 1 option, then that can be, unless they're completely 100% in agreement with your highest program, that's great. You just want to stick to the highest program. But if there's not 100% buy-in on that, make sure you have a step down offer so that person can easily say, okay, well, I don't want to do that yet, but I want to do this lower tier program. So that's why we say either have a 12-month and a 6-month always ready, so that you can easily, step down that gradient, because it's a big commitment. But then the other reason why people need to think about it is I found that if you try to offer a discount on your program, that turns people off. It turns on the amygdala. And if you do that at the wrong time. And so it's best to let case management do that. You can say, hey, by the way, this is, we've got this cool thing going on in our wellness program where, because your husband's in a program, you can get a discount. So I'll have Misha talk to you about that. But really it's, it really, watch out, because if you water down the treatment program, if they say, well, I don't really think that, I want to do any stool testing, or I just want to stick to health coaching. And you're like, well, this is it's a functional medicine program. Well, make sure that you don't just back down. You need to articulate why you recommend what you recommend. And so cover the objections first. The other problem is, Dan, have you ever given somebody too many options when it comes to their care plan?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm like I'm the pro at over information. Yeah, and it's overwhelming, and people. I think that also breeds a little bit of maybe this person doesn't understand my problem, because they're going to give me, very clear cut option. Number 2 is you get the overwhelm factor, like, too many things. It's like, a kid walking into a candy store and you're like, you can pick one thing. And it's like, oh my God, like, it's the overwhelm's amazing.
Yeah. RJ says the dude behind you needs some fat in his diet, Dan. He's all bones.
You know what? He doesn't have a single disease. So, he who cast the first stone, you need to watch yourself.
It's a really good point, Dan.
And quit looking at him. He's got a boner. So.
Okay, so here's some other deal killers. Having skeletons,
Yes.
That can be a scary thing. Getting nervous when your patient wants to know the cost. If you feel weird about that, don't feel worried about it. Give them a range. Of course, you don't know the exact dollar figure. And that's the good news, is you can say, well, some of our programs can be as much as $15,000, and I don't know where yours will be. Some patients, it's a few $100s, but what we do promise you is we're going to give you 100% clarity and 100% transparency on what the program will cost. And you're going to be able to know exactly what that is when we get to the end of the conversation, once I have a little more data on you. Or if you're already through that stage and they just want to know the exact costs, get the exact costs and don't beat around the bush. Explain it to them, make sure they understand it, they see the value, and then make sure you get your case manager in there and hand it off. And so that's a big one. And then I see in our own clinic, and Kate and I have dealt with this, but when you try to get the person totally committed to being gluten-free, sugar-free, tree-hugging hippie who's like loves only holistic medicine, once you work with me, nothing else can touch your lips or your body. When you try to get someone overly committed and you get them, like you tell them all the diet and all the things they have to do before they enroll into a program, that's another deal killer. And so, Kate, you and I have talked about this a lot, where it's, you demand 100% compliance. If you demand 100% compliance before the person really understands what you're trying to get them to comply to, and you do it the wrong way in a takeaway, what have you noticed down there?
No, so it really I don't want to say it turns people off, but it makes them feel like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this. Because really, you want to instill confidence in the person that you're working with, that they can do it, and it's doable. Like, yes, it's hard work, but we're gonna simplify it and make it doable for you. Whereas, like, what typically happens in scenarios like that is you either overcomplicate it or just make it feel like you got to be all in. It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
And that's really where most of our patients, like, they're not ready to make all the changes that we're going to have them make in the next 3 to 6 months. Like, right up front, some people are there because they think you got a magic pill and a magic wand that's just going to fix it all. So if you can communicate, definitely, like, you want to be straightforward and honest. You don't want to be deceptive, but it's really like making small little changes and little steps, like, that 1% a day, like, people can wrap their head around that. And
Yeah.
so it's all about meeting them where they're at and then just taking them an inch higher, as opposed to going from, like, most people are pretty low on their health barometer, whatever you want to call it. And if we're trying to take them, like, we're going to get you here and here's everything that you have to do to get there, that's overwhelming for a lot of people, especially people with brain fog, chronic illness, chronic diseases that they've dealt with for years. They're going to look at that mountain and be like, whoa, I don't think I can do this. I need to go talk to my doctor because they're going to give me a pill.
Yeah. Well, and it's, I think you nailed it, Cade, because if the gradient's too steep, I write about this in my book, 93% of Americans think they live a healthy lifestyle, 93%. And so even when you tell them something like, hey, you're going to have to get rid of your Diet Coke, and their mind's blown, they're like, wait, well, it's diet. There's no sugar in it. So, it's just like, don't assume the patient's ready. So I think you guys got it. These are the reasons why. So people need to think about it, because you're getting a counterfeit yes. And if you read the book, Never Split the Difference, Chris Voss talks all about this. But what I want you guys to be aware of is your communication is so important and so impactful in this ROF, that if you have any of these things that come up, if you have the body language, you don't exude confidence, if you don't look sharp, look clean, be well dressed, smell good, Dan. We've talked a lot about that, Dan. So hopefully that's improved.
You know what? Hyperhidrosis is a real thing.
Good point. Yeah. just work with your skeleton there. He'll get you there. But yeah, making sure that you're not just discounting your services immediately. You're covering all the objections, and then you don't get nervous when somebody asks about the cost. You talk about the same way you talk about their hemoglobin A1C numbers. It's like, okay, here's what it is, and here's what we need to do. Here's where we want it to be. It's no different than that. And then demanding like ridiculous compliance before someone really knows you. It's kind of like, before a girl even is willing to go on a date with you, or someone's willing to, you're already going in for like the engagement. So, hey everybody, Reagan Archibald here with Go Wellness. And if you liked this episode, if it actually helped inspire you to be a better practitioner, help more people, establish a much better foundation for your business, then I'm going to ask a favor of you. And that favor is for you to share this with somebody you care about and love in the healthcare field. I don't mind if it's an acupuncturist, a functional medicine practitioner of any sorts, a naturopathic doctor, a medical doctor, any type of endocrinologist or specialist. We need to get this community strong, and we can't do it without your help. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the hard work you're putting in and day out. I know it can be a grind, especially with some of the chronic cases that you're treating, but this show will help transform the way that you think, help transform the way you practice, and change the lives of thousands. Thank you for being part of our community.